What has been the toughest thing about playing with LeBron James?
I wouldn't say any toughest.
That's the answer I was looking for.
Oh.
That's just the answer I was looking for right there. It's not tough. It should be easy to play with him.
When Luka Dončić sat down with Snoop Dogg for what looked like a relaxed conversation, nobody expected him to drop a line that would expose one of the biggest divides in today's NBA culture. At first, he's just talking about LeBron James, showing love for his insane longevity, and then he drops that wild comment, "I might not be able to walk no more at 23 seasons." He laughs, but you can tell the joke isn't all the way a joke. That one line wasn't some random throwaway moment. That was Luka letting everyone know exactly what kind of player he is, and it's the total opposite of what most stars are doing in today's NBA. Because while LeBron is celebrating making it to season 23, Luka just explained why he might never reach that number, and why he's totally fine with it. But before you take that as a negative, here's why what Luka said might actually be the most championship-locked mindset we've heard from an NBA star in years.
Just wants to be great, man. Just talk about his 23rd season. I said, I might not be able to walk no more at 23rd season, and he's still doing it at the best of the best.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like you mentioned a little bit about today's game, because we had Club on here, and he talked about load management. He said, I don't know what the hell that is. Where is it going? And that's number one. And number two, how do we get it back?
Even for me, I love the NBA game, but then I turn on to a game, right? And then the stars are not playing because of load management. It's hurting the game.
Here's what went down. Snoop asked Luka what it's like to play alongside LeBron, and Luka gives the respectful, expected answer. He praises LeBron, talks about how wild it is to see him still dominating in year 23, everything you'd expect. But then Luka drops the line that flips the whole conversation. He casually jokes about not being able to walk by year 23, and the way he says it, you can feel the honesty behind it. Luka knows what he puts his body through. He knows the price he's paying every single night, and he accepts it. Because when Snoop brings up championships, pay attention to Luka's first reaction. Kobe brought so many championships here. LeBron brought a championship here. That's Luka's exact breakdown. Kobe brought many, LeBron brought one, and that's not a shot at LeBron. It's Luka showing who he actually studied. It tells you exactly who his blueprint is modeled after, and the second Snoop shows him those spinning championship rings, talking about magic in Los Angeles, Luka doesn't start talking about longevity or playing until his 40s. He talks about one thing and one thing only, winning that ring. Even now, with a daughter on the way and a whole life outside of basketball, his mindset hasn't changed at all. Luka's focus is sharper than ever, championships over everything. But here's where the whole thing gets even more interesting.
That's amazing to know that you had a relationship with Kobe Bryant and now you playing with LeBron James in the building that means so much to us in LA. Does any of that go through your head while you playing and on a mission for a championship, thinking about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kobe brought so many championships here. LeBron brought a championship here, so I want to be the next one to do it for sure. But just, I met Kobe, I playing with LeBron. Just as a little kid in Slovenia, I just wanted to play basketball. Just wanted to touch the NBA, and now I'm playing with the...
Luka's playing style right now is proving something a lot of modern NBA fans and players don't want to admit. There are two totally different paths to greatness in this league, and only one of those paths consistently leads to multiple championships. Let's break down what we're really seeing here. On one side, you have the longevity approach. Today's NBA formula: protect your body, play the long game, stretch your career to 20+ years, pile up counting stats, stack up records, and ride that wave into history. LeBron James is the king of this strategy. He's careful about when he plays, he watches his minutes, and yeah, sometimes he sits out even when he's healthy because the schedule gets tough. And honestly, it works. He's about to hold every longevity record in the league, and he's still producing at 40 like it's nothing. But then there's the other approach, the old school killer mentality, the Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan way. You treat every game like it's the last one you'll ever play. You don't ask for rest, you don't pace yourself, you leave everything on that court like it's a fight for survival. And that's the lane Luka is choosing, even in an era where most players are choosing comfort and career preservation. You play through injuries that would shut most players down instantly, and you sacrifice your whole body chasing championships like they're the only thing that matters. And here's the part that makes a lot of fans squirm. This old school approach destroys you physically, but it produces more rings than anything we see in the league today. Just look at the history and the numbers. Kobe Bryant played 20 seasons, and by the time he reached the end, his body was hanging on by a thread. He tore his Achilles at 34, and by 37, he was fighting just to move up and down the court. His final season was brutal on his legs, but look at what he left behind. 5 championship rings. 5 times he stood on that final stage, raising the Larry O'Brien trophy like a warrior who earned every bruise. Michael Jordan played 15 seasons, took breaks, came back, and still pushed himself until he retired at 40.
But you have to really play hard. Does that hurt you physically?
No, because when I play hard all the time. You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% all the time.
We come to practice, he's on one leg. Like he was hurt the second year, he was on one leg the whole year and played 82 games. Wow. Like, and so he practiced every day and he played every game on one leg. And so you're like, man, MJ, why don't you just sit up? How can I be the leader of the team and sit out and y'all going through all the credit? I gotta be there.
I twist my ankle. And I had a teammate, David Greenwood. He says, you know, you twist your ankle, young fella, come over and sit with me. You know, this is, you need to. I said, no, man, I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. You know, I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an impact.
After that comeback run, his knees were worn out, his explosiveness was gone, and he couldn't elevate like before. But he left the game with 6 rings, 6 times proving he was the top player on earth when the pressure was at its highest. Now stack that up next to LeBron James. He's in year 23 and still moving better than almost anyone his age. He's gonna finish with more games played than anybody in NBA history. He's gonna own the all-time scoring record forever. But he has 4 rings, 4 championships across 23 years, while playing with multiple all-stars and stacked rosters throughout his career. So here's the uncomfortable question nobody likes to say out loud. What's actually more impressive, lasting longer or winning more? And now we get to Luka Dončić, because this is where everything becomes crystal clear. This is where you see which path Luka picked. And trust me, he didn't choose the LeBron longevity plan. He picked the Kobe sacrifice everything plan, and he's living it every night. Luka missed 18 games this season, and at first glance that sounds bad until you look deeper. Every one of those missed games came from real injuries. 0 load management games. 0 rest days. 0 we're playing it safe nights. Luka fought through a calf strain that should have sidelined him for weeks. He pushed through a knee problem that had him limping up the court like he was dragging extra weight on every step. He even left the arena on crutches after 1 game and still worked to come back earlier than he should have. And here's the wildest part, he actually lost MVP eligibility because of this. The NBA's new rule says you need 65 games to qualify for MVP, meant to stop players from skipping games on purpose. But Luka didn't miss games because of load management. He missed them because he went so hard that his body forced him to sit down. He literally sacrificed his MVP chances because he refused to leave his team hanging. That's unheard of in today's league. Meanwhile, LeBron has never dealt with this issue because he manages his body with exact precision. He always hits the thresholds. He's methodical and strategic about balancing effort and health. But Luka went so hard that he physically couldn't keep going. And even then, even when his team went 6-2 without him and proved they could win, he rushed right back because he couldn't stand sitting on the sidelines. That's the Kobe mentality right there. That's what it looks like when a player wants to be in every fight, not preserve himself for a longer career. This is Luka showing the world exactly what kind of competitor he is. A player willing to break himself before letting his teammates go into battle without him. Here's the part that stirs up the most debate. We don't actually know if Luka's approach is genius or reckless. We won't know for another 10 years. But here's the one thing we can say for sure. The players who followed this blueprint in the past walked away with more championships than anyone using the modern style.
I competed hard. I played the game the way it was supposed to be played. I played injured, and I played with a lot of pride. So I owe everything to the NBA.
Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnsons, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley's, we earned what we got. When the corporate America came to us, we had a game that could validate their admiration and
sponsorship and all that, yeah.
Now they get that before they play 1 game.
Yeah.
So you're rolling the dice to see if this kid's ever going to be good or not.
Yeah.
So in essence, you're paying the kid off of potential.
Yeah.
That he may be great.
You don't think that's good?
No, because I think it sets bad work ethic. When you get something so easily, you're not going to work as hard.
That's just reality. Kobe Bryant's body gave out at 37, but he collected 5 rings. Michael Jordan pushed his body to the limit too, and he walked away with 6. Meanwhile, LeBron's body is still going strong in year 23, but he sits at 4 championships. So which path really leads to more winning? That's the question nobody wants to answer straight, and here's something a lot of fans don't know about Luka Dončić. He met Kobe Bryant when he was still a kid. This was way before the NBA spotlight, before he became a draft pick, before anyone imagined he'd be a superstar. Luka crossed paths with the Black Mamba early, and you can tell it stuck with him, because when he talks about Lakers championships in that Snoop interview, listen closely to how he says it. Kobe brought so many championships here. You know, LeBron brought a championship here. That wording matters a lot. So many versus a championship. That's not an accident. Luka could have said they both brought titles or they both won rings, but he didn't. He separated them and he put Kobe first. That tells you exactly whose mindset he respects the most. Now think about how Kobe's last seasons really looked. This man played his final stretch with a torn rotator cuff. He played entire seasons with basically no knees left. He couldn't jump, he couldn't slide on defense, he was hurting every single night, but he still showed up for full seasons because that's what leaders did. That's what champions did. You didn't ask for rest. You didn't sit out for load management. You played because your team and your fans counted on you. And here's where Kobe and LeBron differ in a huge way. Kobe's teammates saw him destroy his own body chasing championships. They watched him fight through injuries that would have benched most players for months. They saw that he refused to sit out even when doctors told him he should. That kind of example builds a whole culture. It sets a standard. When your best player never takes a night off, the rest of the roster doesn't even think about skipping games. When your superstar is out there in the playoffs playing basically on one leg, nobody else dares complain about being tired. Now compare that to LeBron's teams. His teammates see him sit out when he's healthy because it's a back-to-back. They see him take rest days for load management. That doesn't make LeBron a bad leader. It just creates a completely different type of culture. Kobe built something in Los Angeles that went deeper than basketball. He set a standard that was brutally simple. You show up, you play through pain, you handle your responsibilities, and you chase championships with everything you have. No shortcuts, no excuses. That's why he ended with 5 rings. That's why teammates were ready to go to war for him. So when Luka says he wants to be the next one to bring a championship to LA, and he mentions both Kobe and LeBron winning there, you can already tell which blueprint he's following, based on how he's playing right now, based on how he sacrifices his body, based on how he refuses to load manage, even when it costs him MVP eligibility. Luka is clearly walking down the Kobe road, not the LeBron one. And now we're getting into the questions that are definitely going to bother some people, but they're real questions that deserve real answers. And the only way we're ever going to figure out which path is truly better is by asking the uncomfortable questions, the ones fans argue about but rarely say out loud. First question, if LeBron James played with Kobe Bryant's mentality, would he already have more than 4 rings? Really think about that. LeBron has teamed up with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and Anthony Davis. He's been on super teams for most of his prime. He always had elite talent next to him, but he's also taken plenty of nights off for rest and load management, especially later in his career. So what if he played all 82 games every season the way Kobe did? What if he never took a night off, not even one? Would he be sitting on 6 rings right now? Maybe 7. We'll never know, but the question hangs there because the counter argument is real too. By preserving his body, LeBron has stretched his career long enough to compete for championships across 3 different decades. That's the longevity mindset. Stay healthy, stay sharp, and give yourself more chances to win. But here's the twist. Do more chances even matter if you're not converting them at the same rate? Second question, is making it to year 23 actually impressive if you sat out 50+ games along the way just to get there? LeBron is about to own every longevity record in NBA history. Most games, most minutes, most seasons. But how many of those numbers would he still hold if he played every single game like Jordan and Kobe once did? And do those records matter more than championships? Or are rings the only stat that really measures greatness when careers are over? Now, the third question cuts straight to the heart of this whole debate. What would Kobe Bryant say about load management? And the truth is, we kind of know already. Kobe talked about this before he passed away. He didn't directly attack players for resting, but his philosophy was loud and clear. He said he played hurt because he refused to let his teammates down. He said sitting out when you could play disrespects fans who spent money just to see you on the court. His entire legacy was built on showing up no matter what the situation was. So what would he say about a healthy player sitting out the second night of a back-to-back? What would he say about load management protocols and body preservation strategies? We all know the answer without him saying it, and Luka knows it too. That's why he's pushing through injuries instead of sitting. That's why he sacrificed MVP eligibility for playing too hard. He's following the Kobe code, not the modern trend. Fourth question, and this one sparks the biggest argument. Did the era matter? Back in the 1990s and 2000s, if you sat out games without a serious injury, people called you soft. Your toughness was questioned, fans roasted you, media piled on. That was the culture. But in the 2010s and 2020s, if you don't rest, they call you reckless and short-sighted. The culture flipped completely. So which era was right? Which mindset created tougher players? Which culture produced more champions and more iconic careers? Look back at the winners from each era. The 90s had Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls showing up every game, winning 6 rings and building a dynasty that still feels legendary. The 2000s had Kobe and Shaq, then Kobe and Pau Gasol, teams that played through everything and stacked 5 championships with Kobe leading the way. Then compare that to the 2010s and 2020s. The Warriors built their run with motion offense and strategic rest. The Raptors won with Kawhi Leonard barely playing half the season. The Bucks won, the Nuggets won, but none of those squads turned into long-term dynasties like the Bulls or Lakers, and none of those players turned into mythical figures the way Jordan and Kobe did. Maybe it's coincidence, or maybe there's something real about that sacrifice mindset, the refuse to sit attitude that creates legends in a way the careful, body-preserving strategy never will. That I'm showing up no matter what approach builds a different type of mythology around a player, the kind fans never forget. Now here's the fifth and final question. Does your best player's approach to the regular season shape your entire championship culture? When LeBron sits out a game healthy and his teammates witness it, what message does that send? Compare that to Kobe's teammates watching him drag himself up and down the court on one leg, fighting through pain, refusing nights off even when he could barely move. Which situation builds a tougher, grittier, more resilient team identity? There's no official right answer to any of these questions, but they're worth asking, because what Luka Dončić is doing right now, playing through injuries, sacrificing MVP candidacy, refusing to load manage, this isn't random or accidental. This is him sending a clear message about which path he believes leads to championships. And here's why this matters specifically for Lakers fans. Luka is 25 years old, and he's already on a collision course with his own body because of how hard he plays. He's modeling himself after Kobe. He refuses to sit out unless he can't walk. He's prioritizing winning over preservation. And he just told Snoop Dogg that his goal is to bring a championship to Los Angeles. But here's where the clock starts ticking fast. Luka realistically has maybe a 10-year window before his body begins breaking down if he keeps playing this way. Kobe's body started collapsing around age 34. His Achilles tear at 34 was the turning point. If Luka follows the same road, that gives Lakers fans until he's about 35 to make it happen. 10 years sounds like forever, but in NBA time, that's a tight window. The Lakers just landed Luka. They have LeBron in year 23. They have Anthony Davis. The pieces are in place, but the timeline is shorter than people realize. Because if Luka keeps sacrificing his body the way he is now, this isn't going to be a 15-year partnership. It's going to be an intense, explosive run, bright and fast, just like Kobe's Prime's years. And honestly, that might be exactly what Lakers fans want. Maybe they don't want another player chasing longevity first. Maybe they want someone who leaves everything on the floor, someone who will play hurt, someone who can rebuild that Mamba-style culture inside the locker room. Luka's already proving he's that guy. Now imagine this. If Luka stays healthy for the next 3 years, the Lakers could legitimately chase 3 straight championships. But only if he keeps playing exactly the way he's playing now. No load management, showing up for every big night, sacrificing his body when it matters most. If he suddenly switches to a longevity plan, if he starts preserving himself, the Lakers might get more years out of him, but they might lose that championship urgency that defines legends. That's the trade-off. You want Kobe's mentality. You get Kobe's shortened prime. You want LeBron's longevity, you get fewer championships per decade, and Luka's already picked his lane. The real question is whether Lakers fans are truly ready for what his choice means. So let's bring this all together. When Luka Dončić said he might not be able to walk by year 23, he wasn't cracking a joke at all. He was revealing the cost of greatness, the old school cost. He was showing the world which path he's locked into, and it's not the modern preserve your body, play until 45 model. He's choosing the Kobe path, the Jordan path, the path where you sacrifice everything chasing rings. LeBron James might finish with more seasons played than anyone in NBA history, but Luka's chasing a different kind of legacy, one built on pain, pressure, and pure championship hunger. LeBron James is gonna walk away with every longevity record the league has ever tracked, and he'll probably finish with 5 or maybe even 6 championship rings before it's all said and done. That's an incredible career by any standard, but Kobe Bryant ended with 5 rings in far fewer years and became a legend in Los Angeles, like a basketball deity whose name still echoes through the city. Michael Jordan finished with 6 rings and became the face of an entire generation. Their shorter primes didn't hurt their legacies. They made them even more powerful because they burned unbelievably bright while they were on top. Luka Dončić has already made his decision, and he's only 25. He's playing like his body is something he's willing to spend, not save. He's already putting championship goals ahead of career length. He's walking straight down the Kobe blueprint instead of following the LeBron model. And if history means anything, if the numbers tell us the truth, players who chose this path often walked away with more rings because of it. So the real question isn't whether Luka's approach is right or wrong. The real question is what you value more as a fan. Do you want your superstar to play 23 years and pick his moments carefully? Or do you want him to give you everything he's got right now, burn out around age 35, and leave a pile of championship banners hanging from the rafters? Luka has already answered this for himself. And if you're a Lakers fan, you better hope he stays on this track, because the Kobe way might break his body by his mid-30s. But it's also the path that brought 5 championships to Los Angeles. And right now, watching Luka refuse to load manage, watching him play through injuries, watching him lose MVP eligibility because he played too hard, that looks a whole lot more like the foundation of a dynasty than a mistake. So drop a comment below and tell me, which path do you respect more? The superstar who lasts 23 years by pacing himself, or the superstar who sacrifices everything for championships and retires early? Because both roads lead to greatness. They just define greatness differently, and the path Luka is locked into right now is the one that historically produces more championship parades, and that's exactly what Lakers fans crave. If this hit you, like, share, and subscribe, because we're breaking down the real stories behind the headlines. And trust me, Luka's journey is just getting started.